Team, community, I am here with Mike Platek. Member for how many years now, Mike?
Just under 3.
Just under 3. Mike is our member of the month. I want to shine a little bit of light on him, let him tell you a little bit about his story. So I'm going to poke and prod with some questions. Mike, I am so excited to have you here as our member of the month. Congratulations.
Thank you, Eric.
Tell me about a little bit about your journey with CrossFit, how you got started.
Yeah.
A little bit of background information about you for the people that don't know you in the 4 o'clock class.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been doing this for about 3 years. I moved up to the Poughkeepsie area in 2019. It was the summer of 2019, and I was definitely, from moving, had our first kid, and was definitely getting a little fluffy, and had always kind of followed CrossFit.
Fluffy's a good word.
Getting fluffy. And when you're 5'5" and you get fluffy, you definitely notice it a lot faster. So was looking into ways to get back in shape, doing it on my own wasn't cutting it. Had always been interested in CrossFit. I've done CrossFit type workouts in the past. I do have an athletic background, but never did formal coaching, formal programming. So I wanted to give it a shot and decided, literally just Googled, and you happen to be 2 miles from my home. And I was like, this place has good reviews. Let's give it a shot.
The Google reviews. Hey, those are important. If you're at home, Google reviews, I'm going to shamelessly plug that. They're massively important. So Mike, thanks for jumping on board with that. Now, beforehand, I don't think most people know about this. You were in the Army.
Yeah, so from 2005 through 2015, I was in the United States Army, in the infantry. So definitely a lot of running, a lot of weightlifting, a lot of ruck marching, just carrying heavy stuff, a lot of obstacle courses.
How heavy was your normal pack that you carried every day?
So it totally depended. So while deployed, typically body armor and everything, about 70 pounds of gear. But if you were carrying stuff that were going overnight or in multiple day missions, upwards of 120 pounds on your back.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of weight to be carrying externally, especially at 5, how tall are you, 5'5"?
5'5".
Yeah. 5'6" on a good day?
5'6" on a yeah. Heather clocked me at 5'6". So.
Perfect. What made you want to get just the fluffiness of getting started? What was your man, I'm gonna go for it now?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. So I was in a new area, so I was wanted to meet new people too. Gym's always a great way to do that. But I had for a couple of years now. So I had been out of the Army since 2015. Been doing it on my own, and a bunch of different programs, and some are effective, some aren't. But just the motivation to work out at home by yourself, some days you just don't have it. So it was really joining something with a community aspect to it. I miss sports from high school, team sports, and so just working out with other people who were motivated was really important to me.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense. I mean, you're a fairly driven dude. You now work in tech?
Yep. So work in the tech startup scene right now.
Awesome. Since you've been here, what changes have you seen? What's going on with you? You've had some awesome results. You've put in a lot of work over the last 3 years. Share with the people at home that don't know you. You haven't always been again, you talked about it before, it's kind of fluffy, but you haven't always been super fit. You had a kid. You just had your second child, right?
Second kid is 2, third's on the way.
Yeah, third's on the way, and it's so cool because I feel Mike has gone above and beyond to stay active in the gym and continue to get here, and that's one of the reasons why we selected him as a member of the month, because he is consistent, he works hard, he shows there's so many things that you check the box for. Yeah. So what have you seen since you started over the past 3 years?
Yeah, so really the first year I signed up for the 3 days a week. I was coming in, I was doing the workouts, and I was getting better because some of this stuff I've never done before. A lot of the Olympic lifting, and then just a lot of the cardio right into weightlifting. I had no experience making that transition.
Did that scare you at all?
It didn't really scare me. I was very happy to all right, I'm gonna put 65 pounds on this bar and try to learn how to clean and jerk. The one thing I noticed here was there's just no ego with any of the members. Everybody was super helpful, so I didn't have any worries of all right, let's start with low weight and just figure this out, because some people were doing the same thing, and everybody was just really supportive. But for that first year, 3 days a week, I think it was just learning the fundamentals, getting comfortable with the workouts, trying to figure out my life on how do I balance 2 kids with working out. And then after the first year of it, mostly just seeing other members get these results and just how much fun I was having in here. And I was getting better even with just 3 days a week. I was let's take this seriously and up it a little bit. So I decided to do 4 to 6 days a week. But actually, I haven't seen the biggest gains until recently. So in April, linked up with Heather to start. Thank you, Heather. Awesome, by the way. To start doing nutrition.
Yeah.
And since I started nutrition, it was like just this like superpower unlocked, and like all of a sudden, the weight and the agility, the cardio, everything just started increasing. It's like one of those things like the exercise. You say it all the time, like. If you want to like lose weight or performance, like the gym is great, but like what do you say, like 90% is what you put in your mouth?
Yeah.
And that is so true.
Yeah. Oh, well, and it's so cool because I mean everybody goes through like their own journey. Sometimes it's nutrition first, sometimes it's fitness first, and usually the performance levels out a little bit, and then you're like, fuck, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And then like you hop on the nutrition bandwagon, which is a home run. So like how have you like changed physically? How have you changed confidence or like mentally? Like what has that process been like over 3 years? Because it hasn't been exactly the same. We've seen a difference.
No, yeah. So first of all, when I first started coming, it was just let's get back in shape. But it wasn't necessarily like attacking every day. It's like, let's come here, let's move, let's get through it, let's sweat, let's have some fun.
Was it hard, knowing that you were a pretty high level athlete beforehand, was it hard for you to like tone it back and like not go like balls to the wall? I mean like,
yes,
it was hard. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about that a little bit.
I remember like even just on my first day here, one of the workouts is like a sprint workout with like 285 pounds, like 10 reps on the deadlift bar. And I'm like, oh, I can do that. And I died. I absolutely died. So realizing that this is a completely different type of workout than anything I've really done before. I had to definitely like scale it back, and I had to relearn some of the fundamentals. I had horrible habits and horrible form with some of these exercises. And so I just had to like completely lower the weight and start over with them.
How much weight have you lost since starting with us?
So yeah, it was consistent. Like I was the same weight for the first 2 years.
Yep.
I came in probably like 165 and would go anywhere between 160 to 170 for those first 2 years, even though I was getting stronger. But then when I started the nutrition in April, that's when the weight changed. And I went from probably around 165-ish down to the bottom of like 152, and now I'm like riding at 155. So the weight has gone down, but the strength has gone up, which has been really cool.
And you feel
more energy, right?
Okay,
more energy. I'm just happier. I love to have these challenging workouts pop up to see, how much have I improved in the last couple of months, as opposed to like maybe skip that day. I like to go to those days and see like, okay, how is this going to feel? How much am I going to be able to move? It's totally, it's been game changing for me really to change that nutrition. And I think like I dedicate like the small amount of free time I have to coming here, because coming here, eating right, doing the fit, it just makes the rest of the day better.
And that was part of my next question, right? So you have a wife at home, you have 2 kids, a third on the way. What advice do you have for somebody who is trying to balance all that stuff? They're like, man, I have no time to get here. Like, how do you start with that? How do you keep it consistent? Like, what has worked for you?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing is having an awesome wife who lets me take an hour and a half.
He's a smart man. He's already shouting out. Love it. That wasn't prompted, by the way.
I mean, just having her say, "I'll take the kids for an hour and a half while you go." That's been a part of it. But just having a routine, right? Like we have a program for what we do every single week in the gym. Like you need to have a program for how you're going to run your day, run your week, and everybody I think can find an hour and a half. It's just when you're going to get that time together in one block, as opposed to 15 minutes on Reddit here, 15 minutes on Instagram here. Cancel that stuff out. Come to the gym for an hour and a half instead. It's made all the difference.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense. If someone is struggling to get started, why would you say they should start, or what advice would you give them?
For me, I don't know if this is the best advice for everybody, but for me, how I get started is I just have to rip the Band-Aid off.
Okay.
Rip the Band-Aid off, and like if you're on the fence, just come see what it's all about.
Do you wish that you got started sooner? Like you didn't wait till like you came back from Hawaii. You were in Hawaii for a bit, right?
Yeah, so we moved all over the place. We did Hawaii, then up to Jersey City, down to Alabama, and then back up here in New York.
Oh, where in Alabama?
So right on the border of Georgia and Alabama.
Oh,
it's a little town called Fort Mitchell. I was at Fort Benning at the time.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So Do you wish you started sooner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many fundamentals of like strength that I'm doing for the first time here that I wish I did 10 years ago. And it's not just so I could be stronger than I was 10 years ago. A lot of like little mobility issues and strength imbalances issues have cropped up over the last decade, and now my back hurts, and and it's like, it's because I was doing certain things wrong. I didn't know how to do certain things, and I wasn't building strength in certain areas and not staying balanced throughout my body, which has caused different muscle imbalances to crop up over the years. So I kind of wish that I was doing this type of workout a decade ago to stay balanced across the board. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that most people that I find, there's three things you've done really well. One, you've been consistent across the board with getting here. Two, the combination of nutrition coaching and fitness is like the holy grail. That's where like results really start to happen. And you can't really have the best results without really focusing on the nutrition. Like the fact that you jumped in on the nutrition coaching, I think made all the difference. The third part, there was a third part to that.
Well, now we're starting mobility.
Oh, well, not only that, but like you've communicated, and this is where like, it's a little bit of ownership on you, right? Like you've communicated what your goals are, and we've kind of laid out the path. You said, Mike, in order for you to get to where you want to be of feeling better and competing and being faster, like I love it because I now have another person to train with in classes who was like really throwing down. Like Mike beat me on like 3 workouts 3 days in a row, and I was like, fuck.
Best week of my life.
Like literally fist bumped out in Sugarwood. So it's been really awesome to see your progression over the last few years, just like so many of our members. So like super proud of you and of it. Any advice you want to give people as we start to kind of wrap this up before you jump into class at 4 p.m.?
Just like always check your ego at the door. They always erase the scores at the end of the day. So it's like, don't get in here and move and push yourself, but like also know your limits, know when you're feeling an injury, know when to communicate that to the coaches, and work within how you're feeling that day. How do you
know your limit? Like how do you know that for you before you cross it? Because we have some people that come in that have a ton of athletic experience, and you know your body pretty well. We have some people that come in and they have no athletic experience, and that's okay too. How do you find where that limit is without breaking or injuring yourself? Like, what does that look like? Do we help that at all? Like, with the layouts of classes?
So for me, like, I like to always throw like 5 pounds more than I did the last time, or if something felt really heavy, if I was able to move it, I'm going to throw 5 more pounds on, and be ready to bail, but not be scared of it. Like same thing with box jumps. Like worst thing I'm going to do is I'm going to smash my shin on this thing. So let's go for it. But I think if you don't know, talk to the coaches. Ask them, is this enough weight? I did that at the beginning all the time. Yeah. Eric, hey, I'm thinking about, and sometimes I was thinking way too heavy, and you told me to go down. It was definitely the right call because I was absolutely dead at the end of the workout.
I'm so glad I could be useful. Yeah. I'm super grateful that you communicate so well. You book the strategy sessions so we can put you on the right path. Mike, what is your Instagram tag so people can follow you online?
So I don't have much of a social media presence.
That's okay.
If you want to see like 10 photos from the last 5 years, it's Mike J. Platek.
All right, cool. Love it. Mike, thanks so much for taking time. Congrats on being member of the month. And guys, take class with Mike at 4 p.m. Message him online if you have any questions. And thanks for listening and watching. See you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.